Hey, happy Wednesday, everybody. Here to give you an update on what's going on. We do have our tropical storm in effect right now for southeastern Texas. Right now, I think it's made landfall right now. I'm not exactly sure. It probably has made landfall as of 1 p.m. today. It's going to expect it to be turned into a depression, and then it's also going to be expected to continue to turn into a depression as we get into Louisiana. But my question is, I'm watching out here for Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, and the Carolinas. As we've showed before, and I will show it up here, we're going to be seeing that chance of that low pressure move across Mississippi, Alabama, and Georgia. And it's really going to start strengthening as it gets through Louisiana. Really, Mississippi is when it starts strengthening. It's going to start strengthening in Mississippi. You're really going to start seeing that low pressure pop up in Alabama and then Georgia. Now, this line here is not exactly accurate at all whatsoever. Maybe if I'm it's not exactly accurate, but it's moving across this area right here according to the European model. So the question I'm wondering is, are we going to get an extension of this cone? Will it turn back into a tropical storm? Will it even keep those tropical characteristics? Those are the questions that I'm asking right now. But this will be strong. We'll be having a lot of flooding. So storm or not, it will be flooding rains, thunderstorms, maybe even some tornadoes. So all of these areas right into here, that line is very thin there. So let me just increase that. Everyone that is in these areas, specifically the more east you go, you need to be watching out for these areas right into here. Make sure that you're paying attention, have a way to get those alerts and whatnot. So I'm going to show you right here the European model, and what the European model continues to trend consistently of maybe a storm beefing back up, going back into the Atlantic. Could it take the name back? Is it going to carry the name through? I mean, these are questions we're asking, and I know the National Hurricane Center is not picking up on this because this scenario is not exactly 100% set in stone. We don't know if this is going to hit it exactly as a 100%, and I'm thinking that's why the National Hurricane Center hasn't done that yet. But ever since when we get in land, and really tomorrow morning, that's going to be the question. I think tomorrow morning we're going to get an idea of what's going to happen. Probably like in the 9 o'clock area. It'll be in Mississippi by then at that point, but that's what we're looking at. We're looking at how much impacts we're going to have inland. And remember, when you look at this cone right here, and I'm just going to make sure that you guys can see the cone. You see the cone right there, the cone right into here, but you see the tropical storm warnings right there. Just because you're not in the cone, doesn't mean that you're not going to get the impacts. This means this is the center, the eye of the storm of where it could go. So it could go farther this way, or the center of the cone could go farther this way. But the impacts is going to stay well out here, as you can see, in eastern Louisiana. So let's get right into it with this European model and see what we've got going on here. I'm going to show you the GFS first, actually, since I have this pulled up for you already. Look at that. So you look at in the GFS, you see the reds on your screen right there. And then it looks like the storm goes in, dies down, but look at it. Look at it as it tries to do something. It tries to get interesting and become something right there, but then it starts to die down once again. So we definitely are noticing something here. There's a little bit of an up thing going here where once you get to Alabama, it's like the storm is like re-strengthening once again. Now, as we look at the European model, the European model right there, as you can see, very disorganized whatsoever. We have a lot of things going on right there. We continue to move that storm. Look as it hits Louisiana, but then the European, look at it, strengthening right there through Mississippi. A whole bunch of showers are coming in here in Alabama. Look at that. Now watch this low pressure. You see this low pressure right here? Look at that low pressure right there, east of Atlanta, right developing right over Augusta, Greenville, Spartanburg. Moving on out, still keeping that millibar low. And look at it, re-strengthening out there, 993 millibar low, and then it heads on out. So will we be getting a tropical storm inland? To be completely honest, that's what we're trying to figure out here. Are we going to have a tropical storm inland? The millibars have to match up the miles per hour, but it really looks like I said before, look at Mississippi. Between Mississippi and Alabama, there's re-strengthening going on. Like, look, as soon as it goes from Louisiana to Mississippi, look at that re-strengthening. You start seeing purples on your screen. Purples in Alabama, purples in Georgia, east of Atlanta, Augusta, Greenville, Spartanburg. You start to see those well-defined red colors, and look at those purples. And those purples, to me, is indicating that that is going to be some severe weather that we're going to have during. Now, this is the 12Z run. In a little bit here, we're going to have the 18Z run. Now, if we look at the 06Z run from earlier today, which is probably going to show you the same thing that it's been showing, a well-defined area of low pressure, as you can see there. The area of low pressure. I mean, look at this. Surviving on land is what the European is showing here, and keeping that spin realistically is what we're seeing here. Look at here. So it's stronger here on the 6Z run. So we look here in Alabama. Look at that. It turns into a spin right before we even get to Atlanta. Right over Atlanta. Now we're back Greenville, Spartanburg, up to Charlotte, up to Myrtle Beach. We roll on out 990 millibar low, 990, 995 millibar low. We see that roll out there. So we're seeing something. Let's look at the OOZ run from the European model here. And I mean, this is not something that's randomly popping up out of the blue. This is a trend that we're seeing with the European. It continues to trend. It continues to show us the favorability of this having the possibility of happening. So let's not just keep this out. This is definitely a possibility of what happens right now. So it's going to make that landfall once again. Look at Alabama. You see the purples in Mississippi, and then look right here, the OOZ run. Not showing us the development, but it does do something over Augusta. Moves over to Myrtle Beach, back out into the ocean. 998 millibar low. It heads on out. So could we have that tropical storm re-strengthen somewhere into this area between, I'd say, eastern Alabama all the way to the Carolinas into the ocean? Could we have something develop right there? So that's what I wanted to show you guys here on this video. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Make sure you look at the previous video explaining this as well, because we've had some changes. Also, make sure to follow the Radar Room podcast with Michael. That's the Radar Room with Michael podcast. Follow that podcast on Spotify. And you can watch it on Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you get your podcasts. Also, make sure to subscribe to this YouTube channel. And I will see you out there in the weather community.